South Africa is accused of grandstanding in Libya debate and Eskom plans to build up its coal stockpiles. That's in the news. Good morning. Some Western countries have accused South Africa of grandstanding during the just-ended United Nations Security Council debate on Libya. South Africa earlier insisted on sticking to the current African Union position not to recognize the Libyan rebel government, the Transitional National Council. South Africa and the United States have struck a deal to allow the release of about 10 billion rand in frozen Libyan funds for humanitarian aid and other civilian needs. In another development, fugitive Libyan strongman Muammar Gaddafi has continued to taunt his enemies and their Western backers from his hiding place. South Africa's ambassador to the UN, Basosango.
As South Africa, we have always said the AU is critical in the resolution of the crisis in Libya. Therefore, it was important for us to collectively review the current situation and the unfolding situation in Libya. As diplomats, we engage in negotiations and we are happy that South Africa's concerns have been taken on board.
Renewed clashes have broken out between Libyan rebels and pro-Gaddafi forces in Tripoli. The rebels have also been attempting to reach Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte, but have been met with fierce resistance. There are reports that NATO planes carried out airstrikes on the city overnight. COSATU says it wants a more effective method which will ensure that land is indeed returned to African people. Its Central Executive Committee meeting has resolved that the Constitution should be amended in order to fast-track land redistribution. Yesterday, Cabinet approved the long-awaited Green Paper on land reform for public comment. The paper deals with a number of land issues, including foreign ownership of land and possible limits on local ownership. COSATU President Stumo Dlamini says they welcome Cabinet's decision, but adds that land expropriation without compensation is not the way to go.
It would lead to chaos. We believe that whilst land was stolen and taken from the African folk without compensation, it would not be proper to do the same in a democratic dispensation. Zimbabwe is one example where such would have happened. People would grab land and there is no skills, there is no comprehensive plan to ensure an effective use of the land.
A 19-year-old unlicensed driver is due to appear in the Bellville Magistrates Court today on charges of reckless and negligent driving. He allegedly crashed into a group of children earlier this month. The pupils, aged between 6 and 9, were taken to a local hospital in a serious condition. The man is currently out on 2,000 rand bail. Eskom Chief Executive Officer Brian Dames says that the power utility Eskom plans to build up its coal stockpiles to 40 days in the third quarter of this year as it aims to boost reserves ahead of the rainy seasons. Eskom uses mainly coal-fired plants to generate about 90% of the electricity in Africa's largest economy. It has to rebuild its stock levels, which fell slightly after miners in the sector went on a one-week strike in July. Rulani Baloyi has more.
Dames says Eskom is projecting to build 40 days supply in the third quarter. He says because of the strike, Eskom will buy an additional 5 million tons this year to ensure that they maintain their coal stock. Dames says Eskom managed to keep the lights on during a tough winter in the world's top platinum producer and major gold supplier, thanks to lower than expected demand and initiatives put in place to manage supply. However, risks to the system remain. Rulani Baloyi, SABC News.
The death toll in the attack on a casino in the northern Mexican city of Monterrey has risen to at least 50. Many others were wounded. Armed men broke into the building and set it alight. Firefighters had to freeze dozens of people trapped by smoke and flames.